5 people in the chat right now.
Cool. Good evening, everybody. This is Chris from Castro Boy Cryptids. We have 2 special guests tonight. Mr. Carlito Castro from Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom.
Howdy, howdy.
And Mr. Abe, is it Sias?
Yes.
What's your channel again? It's got a long name to it.
Spiritual and Cryptid Encounters.
Yeah, okay, yeah. They're going to talk about Mexican cryptids and paranormal and the folklore. So I'll let you guys take it from here because I have no clue about some of the stuff you're probably going to talk about.
Okay, sure thing, Chris. How you doing, Chris? First of all, man, I'm doing great tonight, man. How are y'all doing? Abe, you doing all right, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Good. Yeah, man.
I've been waiting for this to do this with them.
Yeah,
talk about the legends.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I was telling them how our great grandmothers or grandfathers they sit us down and they tell us the stories because that's part of the spiritual balance, of good and evil.
Yeah,
so
yes, exactly. That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say, Abe. Maybe we could start by how we got into this. You know what I mean? With especially like the Mexican folklore. Since we were kids, where our grandmothers and grandfathers, abuelitas used to tell us all about the Mexican lore. Yeah, that'd be great. Go ahead, Abe.
Yes. As far as I can remember, I have my since we're Mexican, you could say we're native in some sort because that's what we
Basically.
are.
Yeah.
We have herbal medicine women, curanderas within the family. They cure with herbs, and they're more of a spiritual, about the spiritual balance. And they will sit us down and tell us other stories, like the legend of the Llorona, the lechuzas. They would talk to us about, demonic forces, and we're just kids, and they're just scaring the hell out of us, so it's like by the time they're done saying their story and we got to walk home,
Yeah.
we're looking for in the sky for lechuzas and we're terrified,
Yeah.
We're
Especially
terrified. Then we get home and we can't sleep because we hear a little scratching sound. We think it's a lechuza, but we hear that we know that's a lechuza, but the lechuzas they've been spotted all throughout Mexico, Southern California, Rio Grande Valley, and in Texas, which we know as a witch, but they've been spotted everywhere throughout Texas and these areas. But yeah, that's how I became to through my great grandmother. She would always cure us through herbs, and she always had the incense. So she would sit us down in the smoke of incense of what do you call it? Not incense. What is the one you burn, Carlito? Not the Palo Santo, but the other one that everybody uses. This like you know what I'm talking about? The sage. The room which is saying the stories is full of sage. You can barely breathe in there, so you're like, you're barely able to breathe because it's. And the reason that she burns the sage is because when she's saying the stories, she wants to make sure that there's no outside forces coming in trying to affect us, as they're saying the stories, because through the smoke of the sage, they can see if there's any unclean spirits around us. I know one time she was sharing some stories with us, and this demonic beings appeared in the smoke, and she prayed against them and ran them off out of the house. So, that's how I grew up, and that's how I got into all this, because I got brought into it through my great grandmother.
Right. Hey, Abe, why don't you tell the people a little bit about your family bloodline, where your grandma was, basically like a white witch, kind of, where she had the ability to see these things, supernatural things, and that's why that was handed down to you, the spiritual side of it. You know what I mean? Your mom and your dad too. You know what I mean? And
when I was a kid, my brother was gotten sick, and nobody knew what was the matter with him. He was getting high fevers. He was always hallucinating, seeing snakes, spiders. and the high fevers were getting him, and the doctors didn't have a cure for him in the States. So there was this medicine woman from Tamaulipas, Mexico, or Reynosa, and she said that she could cure him, but that if she cured him, that I had to stay with her for 6 months. So I remember
Reynosa, for the people that don't know, Reynosa is the border of Texas.
Yes,
It's right by Brownsville.
right by the border.
Yeah.
So I went and she grabbed this egg and she started rubbing it on my brother. She had a little open flame. Her little hut was made out of dirt, and it had a fire, open fire. And she started praying and rubbing it on my brother. And my brother had like a little limp on his arm, and his leg had a limp. And she started rubbing it on him. And next thing when she cracked it, this black bird came out of it, little baby chick, colored black.
Oh, wow.
Had a broken wing and a broken leg. When that happened, whatever my brother had went into the egg, and my brother became better.
Right.
But the deal was that I had to stay with her. So I seen my mom and my brother leave, and I had to stay with her for 6 months. So I would see her works, what she would do. I was kind of like her. They say that the children are like, I was like 3 years old. They say children are innocent. So I was able to see all these unclean spirits, So when she would bring somebody to heal them, she put them on the little altar, and sick people that she was so spiritually gifted that she could literally, her spirit could go into their body where they had the ailment, and she'll pull out, like, for example, barbed wire, glass. But at times I was able to see the unclean spirits that were causing that, where these dark shadow beings that look beastly, demonic, would come out of the people, and they will leave the tent, they will leave the hut, because she had it protected. So they will leave the person's body, and the person would become better. And she would ask me, is it gone? Is it gone? And I would just point where he was walking out of the hut. So it's ever since then, after 6 months, I was in an outdoor restroom, and this woman was calling my name. And when she was calling my name, I looked at her. I didn't recognize her. But then she said it was my mom, and then I recognized her, and that's when she took me. And I came back to the States. But ever since then, when I came back to the States, I've had that gift of being able to see spiritually, sense spiritually. And it's been like this all my life.
Exactly. See, so it was passed on, Chris. And another thing that I wanted to add, what his grandmother, what I mentioned, like a white witch, that's what we call in the Mexican folklore curandera. Curandera means healer. Like, they heal people, you know what I mean? From anything. From spirits, bad spirits, from, feeling bad, nauseous, having some type of negative weight on you, and they take it off. They use like these like branches and stuff with incense, and kind of take it off you. Another thing, what he mentioned about the egg, that's a very big one. They take. I need to go to one of those actually. It's like when you feel you have some type of bad, negative, vibe attached to you, or some type of bad negative attachment or whatever, then you go to these curanderas, and what they do is they do a cleanse on you, right? And they do these ritual, chants and songs and prayers and all that. Like I said, with the branches, the incense, you know what I mean, and the egg. That's a big one. They use the egg and they rub it all around your body, all the way around. They go around, they walk around you, rubbing the egg. And when they're finished, if you have something bad, attached to you, when they put that egg, they have a glass with water, and they crack the egg open and throw it in the water, and if that egg turns like bloody, it means you had something. If that egg turns into like black, it means you had something on you. You know what I mean? That's very big in the Mexican.
The reason they use an egg, because the egg has got the life in it, right? So it's kind of like anything. There's unclean spirits. When they bond or possess somebody, you're a vessel. You're alive, right? So instead of when they do that cleansing, is so if you have a negative attachment, so for it to possess the egg, so it has to go into the egg, it has, because
the egg absorbs all the bad energy, basically.
Basically it goes into, because it's a living thing. So It goes into the egg. You know, the wrong goes into the egg, and sometimes it's from hexes. You know, from other witches that do hexes and stuff like that. And that's what I found out that happened to my brother. And she said the name of the lady that caused the hex on him for him to be that way. You know, so it was somebody that placed something on him.
Now,
but she was able to lift that.
Right, Abe. Sorry for interrupting,
That's
but there's also like everything else, the yin and the yang. There's also there's two sides of the witches. There's the black magic witches, and the white magic witches. The ones Abe's been talking about are white magic witches, but there are black magic witches where they can, summon the dark side, basically, and they have these superpowers. Like some have even been seen flying through the air. Like I don't know. I know some people here, maybe Joe and Al Sanariga. I'm pretty sure they know that like maybe 8 or 10 years ago there was videos on YouTube where they supposedly had quote unquote witch that flew across a mountainside. Like you could see where she started on one mountain and flew across and flew right above another mountain. Like you could see, and this was like far away. This was like maybe, I don't know, I'm gonna say a good 2 miles out from where the person was recording. And that witch was like where she started. You could see where the dress just fell down because she was standing up, right? She was standing up, and here's the broom. So the when she was standing up, the dress was okay, but then when she sat down, it's like she sat down and you saw the dress fall like this, like kind of just with the wind or whatever, and you just saw how she sat on that broom and then went across. Like I'm gonna say she covered maybe like 2 football fields, bro. Before they cut it off, before they cut off the feed, yeah.
But they, the lechuzas, the witches do, black witches, they can shapeshift, so they shapeshift into.
They shapeshift, yeah. They shapeshift.
Mm-hmm. That's how they get from the fly,
yeah,
into the form of the.
Well, that's a different one though. That's a different one there because that they actually transform into an owl.
Yeah,
they shapeshift into an owl.
They have those abilities. Yeah.
To the form of a great big owl. You know what I mean? And it flies. And it screeches at night, real ugly, like we Mexican, people, we identify that screech, and they screech like real bad, like kind of like a witch and a bird at the same time, if you like can imagine that, yeah, a screech, yeah, like that, yeah, there you go, just like that, yeah, and they transform into these things, and they're said to prey upon kids, especially newborns, if they can, like somebody. Yeah, well, this is back in Mexican old days where they left kids outside, on a little basket or something, and they would come and take them, fly off with them, or little kids 1, 2, 3 years old, they come snatch them and fly off with them. But they said that they did that because the family was cursed somehow, and then they added on later that if you came out, like especially like in the ranches in Mexico in old Mexico, you know what I mean? Back in the 1800s, early 1900s, that if you came outside and you knew that there was a lechuza around and you whistled, I think it was you whistled 3 times or something, that you would summon it. It would come and fly and stand on one of your trees and just wait for somebody to come outside so they can attack them. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
They're pretty tall, 7 foot tall with like a 15-foot wingspan. The lechuza.
You know what they look like, Chris and Abe. I'm sorry again for interrupting, but you know what they look like? They look like a harp eagle. Have you ever seen a harp eagle? Huge, and they got that human-looking face like that, and they're huge, man. They're like if you have a human next to them, they're about the size of a human, but they're just kind of like squatting down or whatever. But they're huge, man. Off the ground, they must be like maybe 4 feet, off the ground.
Yeah, basically, lechuza is an owl.
It's an owl.
It's owl. You got the black owl, the white owl.
Right, and I was just mentioning the harp eagle as a reference to that's what it kind of looks like. That size, that big.
Let's say if you whistle at it, it'll come in and try to attack you. It'll come in till it gets a piece of you. It'll track you down. It can track you down for days till it finally scratches you. it scratches you with his talons.
Holy crap!
Yeah. Yeah, so it's scary, man. It's scary, you know.
That's a scary, you know.
Yeah, to think that there's a some type of witch prowling your area,
Right.
and any kid that goes outside, they it's gonna snatch it. So they would tell the kids, hey, nobody go outside, after so and so hour, as soon as it got dark, obviously, and don't nobody go outside, and they would get scared, like, hey, where's so and so? Oh, because look, there's another thing, Chris and Abe, I don't know if knows or not, but I used to go to Mexico when I was a little kid with my family, right? And I had my grandma used to live over there. My mom's mom, right?
Yeah.
She had a house. Okay, she had a house, and you can hear like creepy things, man. It was said that you can hear the Llorona, which the wailer. You can hear like she floats over a river. That's like the most common thing that's been described, that she floats. She doesn't walk, she floats. So she was floating over a river right where my grandma lived, and man, we all got scared as soon as we heard it, because what the whaler says, she says, oh my children, in Spanish, ay mis hijos, because she's condemned for eternity to suffer for her kids that she lost. And yeah.
La Llorona, is that?
Yeah, the whaler. There's another name.
The whaler, which is crying. Which is a crying woman. The crying
She's
woman.
wailing, like, ooh, like wailing, and
yeah. She had killed. There was this guy that she was seeing.
What's the story? Yeah,
and he was a Spaniard and she was native, but the parents didn't allow her to. He didn't allow them to be together, but he had 3 children with her already, and hidden, like on the side. Mm-hmm. Then the man met this other woman and didn't want to be with her no more, so she got mad and she drowned her children. And when she drowned her children, then she killed herself. God punished her. God punished her to roam the earth to search for her children. So that's why she comes after kids that are not baptized between the age of 1 and 5. That's who she comes after. And in other countries, she's called. I believe she was called. I talked to you about earlier. La Sayona. In other countries, like in Brazil, she's called the Sayona, but she comes after married men that are being unfaithful. Because she's still pissed off about the guy that left her for another woman.
Uh-huh.
So in other countries, they know her also. They know she's a Llorona, but she's called a Sayona. Like in Brazil, basically she goes after men that are being unfaithful. In which she's got beauty on her and everything, but if you look towards the feet, then you're going to see the beastly feet. But by then it's too late.
Right.
By then it's too late. So she goes after unfaithful men, but the Llorona goes after the children that are not baptized. I know Carlito had that experience. I had an experience like that also when my sister was barely born. It was raining. Where I live, there's a canal where we irrigate the fields down in South Texas, and it was raining, and I could hear my ears popped. Like I woke up and my ears were hurting, and I could hear somebody crying in the distance. And I could hear. And I was looking out the door. I turned on the light in the backyard, and I was looking, but I couldn't see nobody. So I shut it off. I'm gonna go back down, and I heard the wailing. And then he got right there by my door, and he's crying loud, like. And I was like, I got up real fast because they train us that way. That's a Llorona. I went up to the next room. My brothers were on bunk beds, and I was like, Llorona. And they're like, hey, there's no Llorona. And they seen her pass by the window, wailing. Woo! They jumped off the bunk beds. We all took a run. We had just a house that was long, Yeah. So we're running from room to room. We go into the kitchen, and she's moving fast, man. She's passing by the kitchen window. We're running to where my mom's at, and I grabbed my little sister, because we already know the tale. We're trained by our great grandmothers and stuff like that. So I grabbed my little sister because she hadn't been baptized. And I told my mom, La Llorona, La Llorona. And she was like, she just woke up. She's like, there's no Llorona. There's no Llorona. Next thing you know, passes by the window. She's seen her, wearing she wears like a white veil over her face, and she passed right and stood in front of the door, the main door, and she's wailing away, in front of her door. It's raining. And I said, Mom, maybe it's a woman who needs help. And she's like, "Estás pendejo, that's a Llorona." Don't open the door. Don't open the door, right? So I didn't open the door because, when you hear a woman crying, you think they need help.
Yeah, yeah.
So we seen her go in front of her house through the front window. She goes right through the fence, because she's like a ghost of some sort, right?
Yeah.
So she went a link fence. She went right through it. So we all went outside and we seen her going up the hill real fast, like floating off the ground. And next thing you know, we hear, boom, a big old wreck. So we all took off, there's a small little Mexican town, and we're all just nosy people, got nothing else better to do, right? So we all go up there and there's this semi truck that that went sideways and ran into the Exxon gas station,
Oh, wow.
And the police are there. They're trying to figure out what happened, And the man saying that the trucker said that when he was driving, that this woman in white passed in front of him, and he didn't want to hit her, so he dodged her, but he flipped his truck.
Oh my God!
But there was no woman to be found.
That's creepy. That's some creepy stuff right there.
Yeah, it is, man. And you know what? That's. I wanted to point out real quick when he said about the women crying. The Llorona, yeah, we know that she cries for her babies, right? For her kids.
And
right?
she says it too when she's crying.
Yeah,
she
says,
in Spanish she'll say, mis hijos.
Yeah, her children, yeah. She's like saying, my kids. Yeah, my children. Yeah.
In Spanish.
But, it's funny you mentioned that too, Abe, because you just reminded me of what happened to you when you had your Dogman encounter. The very first one in Elms Grove. The one you came on Vic Cundiff's show and you talked about. Where you heard a woman screaming or crying or screaming.
Praying for help.
Yeah, for help. Out in the woods, Chris, at 3 or 4 in the morning. And Abe, he just happened to come out and heard it, and he went and grabbed a bat and walked out towards the sound, looking for whatever that is. And
my sister woke me. My sister woke me up, and she said, "There's a woman. I think something's happening out there, Abe." Mm-hmm. She woke me up. I went out there. It was cold, a cold night. I had like a little cold. And I was in my boxers, and I said, "Man, let me go put on some warm-ups." And I could hear the woman crying for help, so I grabbed my bat. That's when I had that encounter in the woods. And you could literally hear her say, "Help me, help me." I'm hearing her, literally, her saying, "Help me." So I'm following the sound.
The first time I heard that encounter, I was like, "Whoa, dude, that's fucking crazy. This guy's got balls of steel going out there like that." You know what I mean? Yeah, with just a bat. I would have went out there with a gun, but not just a bat. You know what I mean?
In Killeen, Texas. I'm prior military, and I trained in all terrains. Especially in the darkness. I was in Operation Desert Storm, and when they had the burning oil wells, the skies were black already. So at nighttime, you couldn't even see. If you put your hands like this, you couldn't see them. The only way you could see at nighttime was through night vision. That's the only way you could see. Besides that, you wouldn't be able to see like this in the desert. So I'm not really scared of the darkness. I know there's creatures out there and stuff like that. Like wildcats, and because I've seen them on Fort Hood. There's mountain lions and other critters. But I was just trying to help. You hear a woman yelling for help or a child yelling for help. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to get into the offensive and say, "I need to help out this woman, this child."
Right.
And there's been times that I would hear a child, but they're not yelling for help. I would hear them playing around my home at 3 a.m, and I'm just here to tell you, man, that's not a child that's playing around your home at 3 a.m. That's demonic,
Yeah.
And you know what too? It is known for wildcats, bobcats, all those big cats to do that, to make that, to make that sound like a crying woman, screaming woman. Yeah, it is known. But Abe went out there thinking it might have been just an animal or something, or a woman that was really, a woman that maybe had crashed or something, or her husband had just died or something, and she was just, crying and screaming for help. And he went out there, man, and he had a big surprise waiting for him.
There was six of them, six things that were there.
Yeah.
No, I had the bat, and I was hearing the woman crying for help real close, and I was fixing to swing with the bat. I went there without a flashlight. On the show they make it seem like I went in there with the flashlight. I went there without a flashlight, to surprise whoever's causing me the harm. I'm not going to give my position away with a flashlight so they can see and they'll be waiting for me. No, I was going to do a sneak attack on them. That's why I went in there without a flashlight.
Right.
So when I was fixing to swing the bat, the cry for help stopped, man.
Yeah.
So I'm there, and I'm looking. I could see the leaves are down from the tree, so I could see across the creek at the club that's in the corner. There's a club in the far corner, but there's nobody there. That car lot is empty. It's 3 in the freaking morning, and I'm looking, and I said, "Is there anybody here?" And nobody responded. Then I said, my senses, all my hair stood up. The first thing that I thought, this is a spiritual setup. Something lured me out here. First thought. All right, so when I turned around, man, they're right there. The closest one to me was like 6 foot away, looking down at me.
Yeah.
With white glowing eyes, real tall, and I could see 2 more like in 5-meter intervals between them, looking at me. Then to the left, there was one like low to the ground, one like a huddle, like they were fixing to bum rush me.
Oh man!
So
what was it? 6 total, right?
Yeah, there was 6 total.
Yeah.
6 total, and then I was like, first thing tells me, behind me was a creek that was probably 10 to 12 feet away, but there was a lot of vines. Those vines that have the
thorns.
Thorns. So I said, hell, I'm not going that way. And so I can run 25, 30 feet this way towards the highway.
Where it's open.
But the ones that were facing that direction, they were going to chase me. The one close to me would have chased me in the back way. So
yeah, I think they were trying to flank you, bro.
They're looking at me, and I was like, well, what am I going to do? And then I said, you know what? I need to take myself to my inner peace. So I started praying, man. I started praying. Yeah. When you see something that big with a bat that I had, the bat looked like a toothpick compared to how big it was.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to do shit. I mean, excuse my language. I wasn't going to be able to do nothing
to all of them. Yeah. Yeah.
They were huge. They were humongous. Yeah. Literally, the bat was like a toothpick compared to how big they were.
Yeah, you had no way out. It was too many of them, bro. You didn't have a way out.
I started praying, your Father. You know what my grandma, my great, they installed in me to do when I'm in a situation like that. So I started praying to our Father, and I stood there for a while. I prayed it like, man, I said like 20 times, 30, before I even took the first step, because, I dropped the bat, because the reason I dropped the bat, because it was an animal. I didn't want for those animals, whatever it was, to think that I'm there to hurt them.
Right,
so I dropped the bat on the ground, so I started praying, and I just started moving forward. When I was moving forward through my peripheral vision, I could see him, the one close to me who was looking down. He was turning his head, he was looking at me, and then the other ones were turning their heads too. As I went back the same way I walked in, and I was praying to our Father, and then they tried to mess with me telepathically, and the reason this is what they said, as I was saying the Our Father, the deliverance prayer, they were saying, the Holy One, the Holy One, the Holy One.
Right, they recognized it.
They acknowledged the prayer. Mm-hmm. So when I turned the bend to walk out the last stretch, I could feel one right behind me. I could feel it breathing, like something was breathing behind my neck.
Oh, man.
So it's like I just kept on praying even harder. I'm not turning back. No, it was one of those situations where they could have attacked me, but to me, I feel that the prayer helped me, protected me, because when I started praying after a while, I could feel the presence of the Heavenly Father and the angels around me. And I think that's why they acknowledged the prayer. And they kept on saying the Holy One, because there was holy presence that protected me. But I'm glad that I made it home. When I made it home, my sister seen me, I was pale from the face. I went straight into the restroom and took off my clothes, jumped in the shower to get the scent of fear off of me, Yeah. I was in there for a while, and I told God to bless the water. But after that, man, it's like,
yeah. And see, the thing is too, Chris. This is what I believe, right? On Abe's case, right? That he is so spiritually grounded and spiritually gifted that he sees things that other people can't see. Like this, like that what he just described. If I would have been there, I probably wouldn't have seen it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how spiritually gifted he is. You know what I mean? And that's what they appear to him, and only him. You know what I mean? Where he sees these things, you know, a lot better than anybody else. Like even when he posts his pictures and all that, a lot of people don't see it because they don't have the eye for that. You know?
You seen on the videos?
And he does.
The videos, because I play videos, and you could hear there's activity around me.
Yeah.
It's just you know. Then I debunk the videos. You know, like the one I seen something pass me. I said, and I told you, hey, I seen something pass right behind me. Then I got the picture of Yin Yang that I named Yin Yang,
the one with the white face. Yeah. And see, another thing, Chris, this is between me and Abe. Sometimes we talk, you know, and sometimes he's like, man, you see this picture, bro? I'm like, dude, I don't see it, man. He's like, you don't see it? It's right there. So you see, that's telling me that he can see things that I can't. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can pick up on some of them, but not all of them. See what I'm saying?
Hey, Abe, do you think that's from your grandmother? You think that's where it stems from?
I think that's what it
you're
is.
Able to
see these things.
When I was in Operation Desert Storm, I was in the battle on Virginia Ridge, which was in the front lines, and I witnessed something out there. You know, when people talk about, I'll call them the DDNs, which is demonic Nephilim, but in their country they're called the Jinn.
Jinn.
Jinn. So this is what I witnessed when we were fighting. We had already destroyed a lot of the T-72s, and I was a driver, so I could see everything for what it was, and we got within like 500 to 400 meters. And some of those, can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
When we got close, right, there's people that started coming out from the underground bunkers. They had underground bunkers.
Yeah.
So they're coming out of there. And I witnessed one, they come out of the ground moving like a snake. And he stood up. He was probably like 10 or 15 feet away from the tank, right? And this person had yellowish eyes, like he was possessed, and he literally jumped from 15 feet away on top of my tank. He jumped on top of my tank, and he's looking at me, and he's smiling at me, and like you could tell there was something wrong with this guy. Like he was possessed, you know. He had yellowish eyes, and he's got an AK-47 in his hand. So as a driver, I always had a 9mm on me as a personal weapon. So when he looked up to shoot at my crew, I opened up the hatch. And when he looked down, I got him right in between the eyes. You know, when that happened, he fell over. The DDN or the Jinn jumped out of him, and there was this guy holding a white flag of surrender. You could see the disembodied form of the Jinn flying in the air and went into that individual. When it went into the individual, the guy dropped his white flag. His composure changed where you could see the Jinn in him. He picked up the weapon and pointed at him, and boom, he got dealt with. When his body failed, the Jinn jumped out of him and jumped to the next guy, and it was jumping from person to person doing that, you know. And it's like they wasn't doing it out of their own will, but it was more a form of a possession, right?
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of those guys died, you know, out there in combat. But I seen it, I witnessed the Jinn, you know, and I stood there in those front lines, man, for about 2 days, 3 days. We had orders to stay there in place where we had destroyed the tanks and there was dead bodies, and I remember at nighttime you could hear the growlings of the animals where they were eating body parts and stuff like that, you know. And
oh man,
there was one evening this was happening because we're still up there in the front. I could feel, you know, I was trying to get some rest, you know, and I could hear something growling right beside me in my sleeping bag, you know. And it's like I couldn't rest, you know, so because I could always feel somebody growling by my head. So, and I slept on the front slope of the tank, you know. So then I was like, one day I say, I'm gonna leave all my gear on. So whatever it is, I'm gonna find out what it is. So then it happened, and I was hearing something, jumped out of the sleeping bag, and I'm looking, I'm not seeing nothing, but out of the distance, I see this big old white dog coming at me. Like it sees me as food, I jump out there and we charge at each other, man. I was already mad because he was always coming near my neck. So we charged at each other. He lunged at me. I kicked it right in the. It was a big man. I don't know what size it was. I don't know. It was hit. I hit it in the jaw. It flew backwards, and I started punching it in the ribs. And everybody was trying to figure out what the hell was going on, you know. So they did find out what happened. I told them, and I told them how for 3 days, you know, it's been coming towards me, and you know, I did what I had to do. So they put an order to kill all the animals that were out there because of that incident. You know, because they were used to eating human flesh.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But the djinn, man, has those abilities. You know, it's called many things in different. You know, to me, they're demonic, you know, of nature.
Yeah.
Right.
But they have those abilities.
Yeah. Hey, Abe. Let's move on to El Cucuy.
Yeah.
Let's move on to El
All
Cucuy, man. Tell us what you know about the Cucuy, man, and I'll go after you.
The Cucuy is kind of like the boogeyman. You know, it's a story that they used to tell us when we're misbehaving. You know, they said that if we misbehave, that the Cucuy will come with a sack, you know, and he'll put you in the sack. He'll take you to a river and drown you. You know, that's what I was told. But I think they were just trying to install that fear upon us. But that's what the Cucuy comes after children.
Yeah.
He scares the hell out of them. And I believe for the fear factor, so he could gain power over them. You know, it's kind of like the boogeyman. But it comes to children.
Right.
Go ahead, brother Carlito. What?
Okay. Yeah. Well, as far as I know, far back in my my memory, is that when we were little, they used to tell us, you know, hey, you better behave, or the Cucuy's gonna come and get you. And me being so stubborn, and I didn't give a damn, you know, basically kind of at a time like, that's bullshit, you know what I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, when you're a kid, especially when you're rebellious, right? I was very rebellious as a kid, and I still am, and Al Santa Riga knows that. But anyway, when I was a kid and they used to tell us that, I was like, man, whatever, dude. And I used to still go out at night. I used to still go out in the backyard. I used to still go to the because in Mexico, back in the old days, man, what I was telling you about my grandma's house, right? This was like an old rural town in Mexico, right? Not a city, rural town, like very small town. Like out in the rancho, bro. Like
rancho,
out in the boondocks, bro. Like you know, like rural, like ranch type of thing, you know, where you had a house, like, you know, you had a couple of houses and everything, small community, but they're all, you know, separate, and they're all, you know, have their big properties or whatever, right? Yeah. Well, I remember when we were kids, me and my little sister, we used to play hide and go seek in the back, and there was a little room. It was called an outhouse, bro, back then over there in Mexico. This is only in Mexico now, and it was basically a restroom, bro. But what it is, it had a little creek run under it. So what they did, they built that little shed, and what they did is they would build like toilet holes all in between them. You know what I mean? Like up to 4 or 5. I don't know if you ever heard of that, Abe, in Mexico. Well, they did that, man. Very rural, like I said. And we used to play, you know, hide and go seek. Me and my sister. It was a big yard. I'm not gonna lie, it was a big yard, very big yard. Like I'm gonna say maybe today's reference, maybe twice as of a regular backyard of a home, twice as big. You know what I mean? So like I'm gonna say like maybe half an acre. I don't know how much that is, but anyway. So we would play all around the bushes, you know, hiding and everything. Me and her, we would play all kinds of different games, right? Well, one time we were playing, and I guess I got tired, or I got whatever. I got sidetracked or whatever. Went inside the house. I think I went inside the house to get something to drink, whatever, and I came back outside. And okay, where you at? You win. You know, I can't find you, whatever, right? With my little sister. And when I went back, like I was looking for, I got scared because I couldn't find her. I was like, holy shit! I was playing. I was the oldest brother. You know, she was my little sister. She's like 2 or 3 years younger than me. So I felt bad. I was like, man, I'm gonna get my ass whooped, right? If I can't find her. Right. And then especially that little river, that little creek that ran behind, you know, the property. I'm like, holy shit, man, I'm like, man, I gotta find this out. Look, and she wouldn't answer. I'm like, hey, you know, her name is Isabel. I was like, Isabel, where you at? You know, and she wouldn't answer, bro. And like I said, this was back in I'm gonna say good 1979, maybe ish, around that time. And I was like maybe 6. No, wait, no, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't 79. I was like basically like 4 or 5 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So it was like around 1979 or 80. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I was 4, it was 79. If it was 80, I was 5. Right. Whatever. She was like 2 years younger than me. She was like only 3 years old. If I was 5, right. Anyway, I went back looking for her, nothing, and I said, man, could she be in the restroom? But why she's not answering, right? So I went back towards, because it was this thing, it was an outhouse that was connected to the very back of the house, over the creek, you know what I mean? And I went over there, and I was like, Isabel, you here? And there she was, man. She was sitting down, you know, using the restroom, one. I'm like, why you not answering me? And she was like, and she just looked at me, and then she looked back to the left, because I was on the right side of it, you know, where the thing was, because when you went in, you went around the back house, and you went to your right. That's where all the things was, right? So I was right there at the door, and she was inside, so she had to look to her right to see me, right? And then she kept looking to the left and looking to the left. I said, what are you looking at? I said, what are you doing? And she was talking to that, whatever it was.
Oh, man.
I was like, I felt my body just fucking, I was like, holy shit. Right. I went in there, grabbed her without, you know, picking up her pants, nothing. I just picked her up and ran inside the house. Like, hell no. What the hell is she doing? She's talking to a dead person or what? Because there was nobody there. I couldn't see anybody there. And she sat there. She was like talking to him and shit. I was like, who the hell were you? When we went back inside, I told all, you know, everybody in my family, like, what the hell? Who were you talking to? Oh, I was talking to the man, blah, 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 blah. He looks like this, he looks like that. What the hell are you talking about? Everybody, all my brothers went outside, you know, trying to kick this guy's ass or whatever, right? Right? All my older brothers and sisters went out there, and they're like, what the? There ain't nobody in there, you know? And they looked around. They went around the other side of the house. I said, they said maybe he took off through the creek or something. And they went and looked like maybe, you know, a couple houses down. Didn't see anything. Oh, and I'm like, who are you talking to? And she was like, my friend, blah, blah, blah. She even had a name for him and everything. Like, what the hell? Oh, like, man, that's the goddamn cuckoo, man, you know? Because it comes in like, you know, like spirit form or demonic form. Yeah. So, but then again, they say that kids and dogs can see spirits. That's another big thing, too. That's another big Mexican folklore where kids and dogs can see spirits, and they even talk to them and they interact with them. Or in this case, another story that I had also in Mexico, one of my brothers was in the restroom. This was at one of my dad's houses that he owned. He passed away 2 years ago. Well, anyway, he was in the restroom, and this little restroom was outside in the patio by itself. Like, you know, it wasn't connected to the house. See what I'm saying? So the house was like this, and then there was a patio, and then there was another back patio, and there was more rooms in the back. Well, this one like on the right wall by itself, right? So he was there, you know, doing his business, and he saw somebody walk. He saw the foot because there was like a little thing covering there. I don't know if it was you know, like one of those shower covers or whatever they had back then, you know, and you know, poor Mexico, right? Whatever. So he saw somebody walking through there. He just saw like this, the curtain. He saw the legs walking through there like that. And he says, hey, who is it? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then right after that, he saw the dog chasing her. So he got, holy shit, what the hell's going on? So he, you know, he got up, you know, cleaned himself, whatever, got up as fast as he could and went outside, and he didn't see anything. He just saw that dog. So he went and told him, a couple of my brothers, like, hey, man, somebody's in the house. The dog was chasing him. They all went back there, you know, they grabbed a knife and all kinds of stuff, right? And they went to a very back, room. It was nobody there. It was just like a bunch of, you know, old stuff just piled up. But that just so happened that was one of my uncle's rooms, an uncle that had died there in that house. So they were like, holy shit, that's our uncle's spirit that's still here. And the dog saw it because he chased after him. And my brother saw the feet. So that was like, whoa, man, that's crazy. So you see, so many supernatural things happen like that in Mexico, man, because it's really common. It's really common.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's covering the kukui, man. You know, it's basically it's the devil in any type of shape or form it decides to manifest in, basically.
Yeah, like a
Yeah. So that.
yeah, shapeshifter, or you know, whatever comes up to children. Sometimes they take the form of shadow people, or like people like
Yeah.
double. What do you call them, Carlito? Double hangers. That looks like
Doppelgangers
yeah, that look like them. You know, like I had an
look
experience
exactly like them. Yeah.
where it was summertime and I was playing. I was inside the house. It was hot as hell, and I didn't want to go outside. It was lunchtime, and in South Texas it's hot, close to the equator. And my mom was in the kitchen cooking, and she's like, "Hey, Abram, who's that? The kid right there, that's right there looking inside the house. You know, because our house had those screens. You know, we had no AC, so there's a kid like this, picking through the screen, looking at me." And she's like, "You ought to go play with him." You say, "He's just sitting there like he wants to play with you." So I went outside the house, and he's moving pretty fast, you know. So I'm trying to run after him, and I go around the house and go around the house, and I can catch up to him, you know. And I was like, So I was like, I go back inside the house, and then next thing you know, it's like I see him peeking through the windows like this. It moved real fast. And my mom's like, "How come you're not playing with the kid?" I said, "Mom, I don't think that's a kid. I think it's something else." She said, "It's just a kid, you know." I said, "Every time I go out there to try to play with him, he takes off on me. He don't want to play with me, you know."
Yeah.
So that's what I would witness, was something that would it turned to a dark shadow, but it would turn to to a little kid, take the form of a child, you know, and it would then turn into a shadow figure and take off, you know. And that's what I witnessed when I was growing up, you know, and it would happen to me all the time, you know. But I never got to play with them. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have anything?
That's how they try to lure you. They try to lure you that way.
Lure you in, yeah.
Lure you in, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any questions for us right now, Chris? If not, we can keep going, buddy.
I had one on my mind, but
you forgot it. That's okay. If you remember, you can ask us. Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, that's not a problem, brother. All right. Well,
I'm getting into this, and
yeah, no, right? Okay.
Yeah, go on.
I'm going to continue with something along the lines of the kukui, which is the devil, whatever. But there's also another big one, another big Mexican folklore. Many people know this, and I guess a few don't. But it's called the Nahual, okay? And it's supposedly like the quote-unquote Mexican werewolf, right? It's basically like a demon dog, you know? Some people call it like a werewolf. Some people call it demonic dog. You know, depends on what. There's many branches that they like to call them, but it all comes back to being evil entity, basically, right? So the Nahual. What I know about the Nahual is that it was like a demonic dog that would appear to you if you were doing something wrong, if you were doing something bad, like cheating on your wife, like beating your children too much, or I don't know, something that's bad. You know what I mean? Basically, I don't know, maybe hurting kids or kidnapping kids or anything like that. Right? I heard many stories that this would happen to a lot of those type of people that were like trafficking kids and stuff like that, kidnapping kids, killing kids, actually. Because back in the old days in Mexico, there was a lot of killers and like maybe serial killer type deal, you know what I mean? Because there wasn't a whole lot of law back then, back in the 1800s, back in the early 1900s, there wasn't a whole lot of law, not in Mexico anyway.
Right.
And so it was like basically, the strongest survive, the craziest, all that. And they didn't even really have guns. What they used back then was like machetes, knives, they would stab somebody, kill somebody, cut somebody up into pieces, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so these people would would be normally the ones that would encounter this demonic being, right? Which is called the Nahual, which is basically a demon dog. And I remember my grandma. No, was it my mom? I can't remember if it was my mom or my grandma telling me a story about that they knew a man that the Nahual would appear to him, right? So they said that this guy was with his family, and he was drunk. So he kind of just wandered off by himself because he was drunk or whatever, ahead of the group, because it was groups back then. There was no lights, there was no street lights, there was no anything. All they had was like little lanterns and maybe torches or something way back then, right?
Yeah.
Old Mexico. So this guy would walk ahead, and there was just enough light from the moon to light up the road where they were walking, and of course they were dirt roads. They weren't concrete or anything like that. And they said that it said that this guy kind of wandered off a little too far, whatever, where he encountered this thing, and it sobered him up. Up.
Oh yeah.
And he ran back to everybody, told them everything that he said that he saw, and they said that he saw the Nahual. That's what it was. It was basically what he saw, right? And he described it as being a large dog, about 4 foot tall, on all fours, and that it would get up on two legs, and it would be huge, right? Like say, I don't know, 7-8 foot or so.
Yeah.
And this dog had red eyes. And if you think about it, that's what a lot of depictions are about werewolves and Dogman, right?
Yeah.
That they're huge with the eyes, with the snout, red eyes. Most of them, a lot of them are like amber eyes. Some are blue, whatever. But most of them are like red eyes. You know what I mean? And it said it had glowing red eyes, like fire, like it would light up, 3 or 4 feet in front of him, like that much.
Okay, yeah.
That's what it suggests, and that's what's known to be the Nahual. But it's also demonic. It's also evil. So it's not a nice thing to encounter one of these things, because it's either gonna take you, kill you, or make you disappear. You know what I mean?
Right.
He got lucky because he was with the group that was a little behind where he was walking.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the story on the Nahual. That's what I know about the Nahual. Now, I know Abe knows other stories about the Nahual. So if you'd like to share those, Abe, go ahead, buddy.
So I had an experience, something that happened to me personally, was what I witnessed. When we talk about hellhounds, well, I witnessed something in this nature the day that my mom passed away. They were looking for her because she had gotten murdered. They were looking for her, and I went on my bike. And where I live, there's nothing but agriculture, so I went down the dirt roads in my 10-speed bike. And I was the dirt roads are white, and it was just pitch dark. I had no flashlight, so I went to search on my own, following my spiritual instinct. I prayed to God to take me to where she was at. Because I was even my faith was strong even then when I was 15, 16. So I went on the bike and I was traveling. I got on a little highway. It was, and I rode to where there was this bridge, and on the bridge there was a light pole. So I was there, and when I was on the bridge, I got off my bike, and I heard somebody moaning in pain, and I started walking with my bike, and I was getting closer to the moaning, where somebody was moaning in pain. And I'm looking down this dirt road, and the light pole's right there, and I could hear somebody moaning. And as I start going down the dirt road to where the moaning was, we'll talk about the hat. Was it the hat man? All I remember is I seen somebody stand up, and he was tall as hell.
Mm-hmm.
He had a black hat, black cape, red eyes, and he's looking at me. I'm looking at him. Next thing you know, he starts gliding in the air, coming towards me.
Oh man!
I could still hear the mourning, so I got on my bike, and I was getting on my bike because there was a rancho out there. You could see the lights flickering off the house, like they were just going off crazy like that, off that ranch, and you could hear people laughing. So I got in my bike. I got the lights flickering with people laughing. I got this tall figure and dressed all in black coming after me. So I turn around. I got on my 10 speed and I'm going down this road that goes back into town. It's got a lot of potholes. So my bike's going, and I'm hitting these potholes because the street is all messed up. So I'm getting closer and closer. And around our town, there's a irrigation system, right? The water goes underground for the fields because
Yeah.
a lot of agriculture. So as soon as I cross that, and I'm looking back, and when I'm looking back, right, it's not this man in black chasing me no more. What I'm looking and I'm witnessing is this dog-like creature with red eyes chasing me. So as soon as I cross the irrigation system, I stop on my bike, and when I turn around, it's standing right there beside me on the other side of the underground water irrigation. It's looking at me. It's got red eyes. His tail is straight up in the air. And it's like, why? I'm looking at it. It's looking at me. It's got the red eyes. It's looking at me. So I start praying the Our Father. I'm praying the Our Father. He turns around, and when he turns around, it leaps like very far distance. Like it leaps like 15, 20 feet. Like he's not running like a dog. He's sleeping. He's sleeping in. It leaps like three, four times, and it's way back in there again. I turn around and I go back home. I get home. When I get home, uh, my aunt is all scared. She's got her truck there. She's scared, and she said, "Go get the kids. Go get the kids." And she's scared. She's trembling. And I don't know why she's trembling. And I go grab my sister. We get in her vehicle and we go to her house. When we go to her house, she said that when she got there at our house, that she seen something that looked like a monkey with red eyes on the tree. It was there staring at her on the tree. So she literally didn't leave her truck. She was like scared, you know. But that's what happened to me. I seen different things but what they all had in common was the red eyes. The man with the hat with the red eyes, the hellhound with the red eyes, and then what my aunt said that she described was a monkey with red eyes. So whatever it was had to be evil, or it had the abilities to shapeshift in that way.
Right.
But hey, that's a true story that happened to me. But people seeing that the hellhound, the nagual, that it takes that many forms. That happened to my uncle. He was being real mean to my grandmother. This is true. He was being real mean to my grandmother. He was cussing her out, and my grandmother told him to go sleep outside, to go sleep on the porch. So he's like, I'm not afraid of no nothing. And my uncle, he was older. He was real old. He was the oldest, but he was kind of like slow. So he slept on the porch, right? So he's asleep on the porch. Next thing you hear him screaming. He's like, ma, ma, He's screaming, and we're like trying to figure out what's going on. And we just hear like something's dragging something. So when I
Yeah.
go out there to go see what's going on, my uncle's feet are elevated in the air, and something's dragging him, literally dragging him, and you can't see
Oh.
what's dragging him. He's like sliding on the porch, trying to grab onto the poles, and it's dragging him.
Oh
And
shit.
I grab him from the hands, and it's pulling me too, because it was whatever was dragging him had his feet elevated in the air and is dragging him. Uh, but that's what they do. They have those abilities to that. It was in an unseen form. You could literally not see it. So it had to be to me like what happened to me in Elms Grove, that I got attacked a couple of times by an unseen force. It has to be something in that nature. It's either something demonic or something that have capabilities beyond our nature. Like
Right. Right.
alien capabilities.
Right. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, it is, man. It is very crazy. Is there any questions on that, Chris? Or
I just wanted to know if it's the same thing as a hellhound.
well, yeah, a lot of people basically say that's what it is. It's a hellhound.
Yeah.
But because hellhounds come from obviously hell
Yeah.
and Satan and all that good stuff. But this here is Mexican folklore that people from old Mexico know mainly about, not the new Mexico. New Mexico really
What
doesn't
what was the
talk
name of
about it.
that? The name of that? The native that shape shift into that, Carlito. You said the name of him one time that has the ability to shape shift into that. It's like a cura, like a witch doctor or a brujo. You said his name one time.
Man, I can't
Uh,
remember right now, bro.
It's kind of like a skinwalker, but it's like a you know how he started the dark arts and he has those abilities to change into that beastly creature. I witnessed something like that. I was going to my cousin's house because I'm from South Texas, near and the
Mm.
border is right there
Yeah, right across.
from my town. And I remember one evening I was walking to my cousin's house. It was like at 10:30 at night, and I feel something behind me, and when I look, I see these big old beings, like it's like their bodies are big and they're literally jumping over the fence. Like the fences are like what 10 foot high, 11 foot. They're just walking over them, and I noticed that their faces were like werewolf, like a creature, but from the
Mm.
neck down, it was like a body of a person,
oh
and there was
wow.
like three of them following me. So I was like maybe 4 blocks away. So there was a church, and I stopped at the church, and I was banging on the priest. Every Catholic church has the priest has a house there. So I was banging on his door, for help, and he came out and he took me to a little room at the church, and he told me how could he help me, and I told him that there was something following me, and I gave him the description how it looked. And he asked me if I was doing drugs or was drinking. And I said, no. So I was just going to my cousin's house and something's following me. I just came for your help. So he's there and he's like, oh, it's probably just your imagination of what you're seeing. When he was saying that to me, he had glasses. His name was Father Ralph. The door opened behind me. And through his glasses, I could see him standing on the doorway, see the beastly creature standing behind me. And Father Ralph, sweating, he's trembling, and he tells me to get out of there. He didn't even pray for me. He told me to get out
Wow.
of there. He
Yeah.
left me for the wolves, you could say.
Oh, threw you to the
Oh
wolves.
So
Yeah.
he told me to leave. So I'm there, and I said, man, how am I going to do this? I said, well, I'm going to have to fight my way out of here.
wow.
So
Yeah.
when I jumped out of the door, and I had my guards up, but when I jumped out, there was nothing there. So I ran to my aunt's house, which was 2 blocks away, because I could feel that they were still around. So when I got there at my aunt's house, something happened to me. When we talk about possessions and people being bonded, well, I guess because of the fear factor of me seeing them, what I seen, and me being scared, going to the priest for help, and the priest not helping me, throwing me to the dogs. Well, I believe whatever it was spiritually attacked me, in which I don't remember nothing. All I remember is this: when I woke up with a knife in my hand with blood on it.
Whoa.
Right? So I don't know what's going on, and I have this knife in my hand. It's got blood on it. My hand has blood on it, and I'm trying to figure out what happened. So some of my cousins come and they told me, "Hey, our mom says you're not welcome to come to the house anymore. It's because of what happened last night." I said, "What happened?" They said that some guy told me something, and that I went berserko. That I lost it, and that I was beating them up so bad that they were breaking chairs and 2x4s. They hit me with everything they had, frying pans, and nothing was. They couldn't do nothing. That was throwing everybody around. I was throwing everybody around, and that I beat up the guy real bad, right? So when people say that the devil made me do it and stuff like that, well, I started remembering little things, and I was trying to figure out how did I get a knife with blood on? What did the knife have blood on it? So I started remembering. I guess after I left that house, that I was walking, and I remember how I was acting. It wasn't acting like me. I was acting like it was some kind of animal or something. And I remember a little Chihuahua coming and trying to bite me on the ankles. And and I was telling her to go away, and then he kept at me, kept on coming at me, and that's when I remember, whatever was still upon me, that attached itself to me. I remember taking out the little chihuahua. That's how the blood got on the knife. And I remember where I put the chihuahua was underneath the branches.
Wow.
And then after that, I remember the guy that I beat up. Man, he was messed up bad, man. Like his face was black and purple. And he came to apologize to me. That he said he was sorry for getting me upset, but I apologized to him. But I guess the opening that I had was I went from fear, the spiritual opening, and then when he said something, it was something bad he said to me that it upset me. That was the spiritual opening, and I got, you could say, demonically attacked by whatever was following me, went into me, and I caused all kinds of chaos and havoc. And I'll never forget that, and that's why it's like I always preach to everybody, hey, always maintain the love foundation. Don't have anger. Don't fear. Face God first. Because I know what happened to me. At least I got to remember what happened. How the knife. And I'm glad that nobody got seriously injured. I was like, when that happened to me, I was like 16 years old.
Wow.
Damn, bro.
Wow.
Hey, if it's okay with y'all, I want to move on to chupacabras, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so many things we need to cover.
I know, right?
I'm sorry. I'm just telling you what I experienced. The full experience, which was not good to me because I felt violated, man. Like when things like that happen, it's like you feel like violated, like your body got violated to do something that you didn't want to do.
Right. Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Well, I've worked, around a lot of Latinos, construction business, and it seems like they're all pretty spiritual. Like the Mexican people are very, very spiritual. Like I know my buddy always told me he'd be talking to his kids every morning, and I'd hear him, I forget how you say it, he'd do this little saying, every morning to them before they went to school.
Blessings. Blessings.
Yeah, every morning,
Bendiciones.
Yeah. That's all the Mexican families do that with their children before they go anywhere. Softball practice, school.
Yeah.
School trip or whatever they call
say
it.
I love you, be careful, be careful on the road. Whatever they're doing, even if they're older, you still got it. You still do it.
They do a little cross on their little face and
Yeah.
that's very common. Yeah, that's all the families.
So which one were we talking about now, Carlito?
Oh, the chupacabras, man. I want to talk about the chupacabras. Right. Yeah, the one that in '94, bro. The one that made a public outcry, a public, scare.
I think it was like a 94 or 95.
Yeah, 94, 95, bro. I was in Mexico, actually. We went for vacation during the summertime when school finished that year. I think it was at the end of May. We used to go on vacation from school. The very last days of May, I remember it was, because it used to be all June, all July, and all August, and we come back on the first week of September, right? That's the way it used to be. I don't know how it is now, but it used to be three full months.
Yeah, that's what it was for us, yeah.
Right, yeah. I think they changed it. I think now it's only 2.5 months or something. I don't know. Right? Something like that, Chris?
Yeah, they get off June and July, and they go back in August.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we used to get. We were lucky. We got one more month back then, man. Yeah, and it was this was in the 80s and 90s. So in '94, we went to Mexico to visit family and all that. And but this wasn't in the ranch anymore. My grandma's ranch anymore or anything like that. This was like in Mexico City, where I have a lot of family there from my dad's side. In the ranch side, that was from my mom's side, right? Okay. So in Mexico City, this was '94. We were just hanging out, me and my sisters, and friends and people from around where my dad's house was, whatever. Just friends, and And I remember that it came out on the news, right? And everybody like, what the hell? And everybody got scared. Everybody started talking about it. They told all the kids not to go outside at night anymore and all this. I'm like, what the hell? What's this about? Well, when we learned about it, like in the news, and they actually told us what it was, they said, well, it's some type of alienoid, being that flies around, sucks the cow's blood, hence the name chupacabras. Well, not cows, I'm sorry, goat sucker.
Goat suckers.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah, goat sucker in Spanish is chupacabra. Cabra is goat. Chupa means suck. So chupacabra, suck goat.
Okay,
right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's all one word. Yeah. So suck goat, right? Or goat sucker, you would say in English. And we were like, what the hell, goat sucker? What does this look like, or what? And everybody started, saying what it looked like, because this was coming from down in Puerto Rico, down in South America, Brazil, all that. That's where they say that the sightings were, right? And then all these cattle were coming up dead with just 2 little holes and no blood in their entire body. Like,
I think it was 3 little holes.
3 little holes? Okay, yeah.
And like in the chest area.
Yeah, in the chest area.
But literally, every animal had no blood. It drained all the blood out of it.
Yeah.
So there was no blood left in the body.
Yeah.
How in the hell?
Yeah. But
like,
this thing supposedly was kind of like maybe 3 foot tall, right? Humanoid and alien looking, and it had big eyes, and it had these big ears, and it had these big wings because it could fly, and it had like these spikes in the back of its head or spine or whatever. You know what I mean? And we were like, what the hell? We never heard of that. That's the way they described it
in Puerto Rico. Yeah,
and it caused mass chaos around that time, man. Like all of Mexico was aware of that. All of Central America was. I think even the United States was aware of that. It was like a big scare back then. So everybody like, oh man, keep your children inside and don't go out at night. Yeah, man.
I think
it only lasted about a year, right?
In '95, yes. The account, like it was 1,000 kills of animals, goats, sheep, and within the United States, 1,000 kills in 1 year.
Wow.
They found that many dead animals. I remember in South Texas where there was cows that were being found with no blood. There wasn't just the sheep and the goats.
Yeah,
there was
in Texas.
Cows, horses found with no blood. That's why they bring the thing that it might have been an alien trying to do something like that. They're thinking it was, because that's the same time frame where in that year, 75 was the same time frame where UFOs were being spotted down in South Texas, and that's when they had the sighting of the big bird, what they called the big pájaro in the South Texas. It was like a big old. They said it was a phoenix bird or a big bird where it attacked a guy. A friend of mine is making a movie off of that. It happened there.
There's a thunderbird, and then there's a pterodactyl. Yeah, both sighted in Texas.
Yeah, and that happened in 1975 with that sighting of that bird. But it's the same thing that happened with the dead animals. The same things, like they were finding animals with no blood. And there was UFO sightings. Carlito talked about the UFO sightings. Those UFO sightings also. When all that was happening at once.
All at once, yeah. So that's why that's why people kind of connected that with UFOs and aliens. You know what I mean? That's where the alien look came from. Because
in Mexico, they have a lot of UFO sightings. Right, Carlito?
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. In Mexico, dude, all the times that I've been over there, man, there's been so many sightings that have been. I had 2 sightings in Mexico myself, like encounters. I seen them with my own 2 eyes. 2, one in '93 and one in 2000. And I had another one, but this was in Texas, but in 2013, I think it was. Yeah. But anyway, 2 of them happened over there in Mexico. And for what I know, like I was telling you, Chris, earlier, that I think Mexico has so many sightings, UFO sightings, because the government doesn't chase them like they do here in the United States. See what I'm saying? Over there, the Mexican government, they don't care. I mean, they're not going to waste their petroleum or jet fuel to go try to chase one of these things down, they know they're not going to catch it. But now U.S. I don't know why they chase them. They know damn well they're not going to catch it, but they still go out there and just kind of show some type of work that they went after it or something. I don't know.
Right.
But the dealing with the chupacabra, I had a nephew that worked for the border patrol. When he come out of the military, he was working for the border patrol, and he said that when they were on patrol, that they found a little girl out there. She was crying, and they found her, and they said, "Where's your parents?" And she was just pointed, and she was all scared. They put her in the border patrol vehicle, and as they were walking, they said that they heard this strange growl and this something with red eyes was coming after them. So they jumped back in the vehicle. They got called for backup and everything, and they didn't know what it was. And he was saying the chupacabra. So after that incident, when he was telling me the story, he was freaking trembling. He quit the border patrol. He stopped doing that. But
yeah, that's crazy.
It's my cousin.
Speaking of border patrol, I've heard many stories, man, throughout the years about border patrol seeing like crazy shit, bro. They see dogmen attacking immigrants. They see Bigfoots out in the freaking out there in the
they're
trees.
Out there,
Cause they're out there. They see all kinds of like cryptid like creatures too, man. All in the border, dude. Like it's crazy. And a lot of people from the border patrol, they say that they see it and they don't believe it, and some of them get scared and quit. Just like Abe said, they quit. They're like, man, oh no, I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm out. And they just quit.
Wow.
And they don't. Yeah, it's been a lot of stuff.
Well, I mean, they're out there by themselves, right? In the middle of the night, in the middle of the desert.
Right.
Wow.
Exactly. And a lot of times these border patrols are out there, and I guess they're scared because sometimes it's just one person in the truck or two.
Yeah.
But they're out in the middle of nowhere, just no lights anywhere, no nothing. That's their job to keep an eye out, for immigrants or whatever. But then there's days that there's no immigrants at all, whatever, and you're just out there by yourself.
And imagine they're guarding the border.
Something comes out like that to you and knocks on your door or whatever. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like,
they're guarding. Check it out. They're guarding the border, Carlito. And what's in the border? The river.
Yeah, the river.
And what's in the river? La Llorona. They've had encounters with the Llorona also.
Yeah,
many encounters with the Lloronas.
Yeah.
The border patrol.
That is true. Yeah, they seen some
along the borders. They run into all that. They run into La Llorona.
Yeah. And going back to the UFOs, man. There was one time that I went to Mexico. One of the times that I visited, because throughout the years I've always visited, right? Family and everything. And this is where my mom lived and my grandma. This was on that state, right? Which is called Guanajuato.
Guanajuato.
Yeah, Guanajuato.
Oh, a lot of witches and warlocks.
A lot of witches, yeah, bro, yeah. You know the story, right? There's actually a place in Guanajuato where they say they got a witch museum, bro.
Really?
Like witches, in a museum, like dissected or something. I can't remember.
Oh, wow.
You know that story, right? The brujas in Guanajuato. Yeah.
I know there's a lot over there because I've run into some over here.
Yeah. And a lot of people depict them like on the highway. They see them and they jump like this up and down, like in a blue flame kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they call those witches. They say those are witches right there. They're transporting in a little like orb, with the blue flame. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah. I got another story on that. Another sister of mine seen one of those little blue flames, but that's a whole nother story, different type. They said that there was money buried. This was my grandma's house, bro. The one I told you about where we saw all that crazy shit. There was money buried there. And one of my older sisters was in that same restroom that I pulled my little sister out of. She was there, and she saw a little blue light, like flame, jumping up, and so she was like, "What the hell is that? What the hell is that?" So she followed it, and she went to that place, and she said there was something there. So that little blue flame was something trying to tell her that there was money buried there. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. And that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
One of my older sisters went to look for that money, but they had a medium come in that spoke to the spirit to get the spirit to tell them where the money was at. He told him, he said, but you can't take it out tonight. You got to wait till in the morning to take it out. Well, one of the people that was there tried to cheat everybody and try to go and take it out. Well, Yeah, well, he was cursed and died like a year later.
Oh wow,
Yep.
that's crazy.
And they never got the money. That's crazy. That's a whole.
That is messed up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Bro.
I got a story that my grandfather told me what happened to him when he was a teenager. They told him about a treasure, and they went to go dig up the treasure. And as they dug up the treasure, and they found the treasure, they hadn't pulled it out of the hole yet, so they had dug a big hole. That they heard a wagon, like those wagons from back in the days,
Oh yeah.
and you could hear like a man and a whip and the horses going off. And he said that it was a devil, that he got out of the hole, and one of his friends was still trying to get the treasure, and he said that the hole just covered itself back up, and he took off.
Holy moly.
But his friend died. He told me the story.
Damn.
Whoa. So he got
That is-
buried. He got buried with the
He
treasure.
said the devil, he just covered up the hole with the
Oh,
treasure. He
God.
died with the treasure. That's what he told me. So I don't know. I mean, if he was telling me the truth or not, we're just trying to scare the hell out of me. But I've heard of stories like that where there was one. I think a story is folklore. They talked about a priest that was stealing money from the church, and he was stealing the money, and he because he wanted to be rich, right? So he stole the money from the church, and he had his own little treasure chest. And when to go bury, before he buried the treasure chest, that's what he did. He killed a man, so the spirit of that man could guard the treasure, so nobody could get to the treasure. So, he was doing that, and there was this he couldn't get to the treasure, but there was this guy that was cleaning the church. They heard him saying the story to somebody, right? So he went to go look for the treasure because he wanted to be rich. So he went and took a shovel, and you could see that flame that Carlito was talking about. There was a flame right there, and he went to where the flame was, and he started digging, and he was digging and digging, and he finally hit the little treasure chest, and he pulled out the treasure chest. But when he pulled out the treasure chest, the spirit of the man he had killed came at him. He came out. He had blue eyes. He came at him, and he left the treasure chest there, left the shovel, and took off running home, scared as hell. He ran home. He ran home and made it home safely. So, he was poor, so he forgot to get his shovel. So the following day, he went back to go get his shovel. When he went back, he couldn't find the treasure, but he found his shovel. It was like 20 feet up in the tree. So I guess a ghost placed it way on top of the tree, so we wouldn't be able to get it. And he was looking for the treasure. The hole was covered up. He see something glowing, and it was 2 gold coins. I guess that the ghost didn't get to pick up. So he was able to collect those coins, but he never went back looking for the treasure.
Right? I wouldn't either.
Hell no.
I don't think I went back at all.
No, man.
Yeah, it was. I think what was the? It was. I can't remember the name of the legend, but it was it's a folklore tale dealing with a priest.
Wow. Man, you guys got some crazy stuff down there. Holy crap.
Yeah, man. Oh, and you know what? I just want to kind of continue where I left off, going back to the UFOs, man. In that state where my mom and my grandmother are from, that state, the Guanajuato. There's actually a place that I didn't know it existed. I didn't know about it until like maybe what was it like?
Carlito, wasn't it the place where the witch was spotted flying in Guanajuato? Wasn't it the mountain range right there in Guanajuato where she was spotted?
No, I think that was Monterrey. I think she was spotted in Monterrey. Yeah,
that's right, Monterrey.
Yeah, no, but this has to do with UFOs though, bro. Look, check this out. So there's a real close to where my grandmother lives and everything, or used to live. She passed away. Where she's from, that little town or whatever. There's like maybe say 20 minutes from there, 15, 20 minutes from there. There's a crater, man. So it's basically a volcano. Dead volcano, whatever. But then I didn't know there's actually 7 dead volcanoes around the area.
Whoa,
yeah, there's 7 of them, bro. And they call them the 7 luminaries. Luminaries as in lumens, like as in light. You know what I mean?
Light. Like,
I don't know where that name's come from, but that's what they call it, the seven luminaries, and they're all interconnected underneath. So they're all connected, all seven of them, but they're far away from each other though at the same time. Like within, I'm gonna say like within maybe a 2 mile radius, all seven of them. Anyway, we went to one, bro, and it was tall, like a crater, like a little mountain, like a little hill, right?
Yeah.
But just like this, because the inside was all dug in, like a crater, right?
Yeah.
Like a volcano, but it was all hollow in the middle, but just a little two mountainsides on the side. Well, to get in, you had to go through a tunnel on one side of the mountainside to get in the middle, right? So we did that. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was a little bitty, opening. I'm gonna say about maybe 6-7 foot wide, maybe 6 feet tall. That's it. So we were kind of crouching, in there, make sure we wouldn't hit our heads or whatever. And another thing, we had to go in with a guide. We couldn't just go in on ourselves. We had to pay a guide to take us in and then take us back out, right? So we were going through there. I remember we even seen like a cow coming out there. I was like, what the hell, cow? Like, what the hell, they go feed it or something, or whatever they have inside of there or what? Why a cow? But anyway, it just tripped me out. So we went in. And we went inside, and it was like rocky, and it had a couple of trees and a lot of foliage, and a lot of grass and little pond. What are those little green thing like
a lagoon?
Yeah, kind of swampish, kind of. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those pads, where the frogs stand on, lily pads and stuff like that. Yeah, all around the area, man. So it had greens, coming out through there. But in the very middle, which was very big, in the very middle, dude, it was all white sand, and it was like a bluish, whitish lagoon right in the middle. That was the very eye of where the volcanic, matter came out of at one time, right? So they say that right there, that besides the water, holding the water in, which was like white and blue, like I said, I felt like I was in Antarctica or something, man, like glacier water or something, because it looked white and blue. The water, I got that close to it. I was standing on the sand. So that sand, I came up with that it must have been the ash that turned into that white sand, right? The ash. But they say that particular volcano, basically, or crater, it has a never-ending hole that goes through there. Never-ending, like it has no, yeah. So because they say that there's been people that try to go down there and they never come out.
Oh man,
looking for, and it said that UFOs like to come to that crater a lot and go down in there and hover right above the water, they said. So a lot of people from that town say, hey, if you want to see a UFO, man, give it about a week and you'll see one here at this crater, because they come here almost every day, almost every night.
Oh, that's crazy.
Wow, really? So yeah, man. So I seen a lot of tourists, right? Like American tourists there, and they tripped out because I know how to speak English. They're like, what the hell? I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing here? And they were like, oh shoot, you speak English? Like, yeah, man, I'm from the U.S. I just come visit my family. And they're like, oh man, that's great. Hey, yeah, man. Well, man, we came here because they told us we can find UFOs here. They had cameras, all kinds of gear, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's what the legend says. The local people say. Yeah, man. Well, I said, well, are y'all gonna stay here for a while? And they're like, yeah, man. Well, I think we're gonna stay here for about a week or two, man. To try to catch something on camera, because it's everybody knows that this is a real good spot for that. I'm like, yeah, man. Hopefully you get some good footage. They're like, yeah, man, thank you. All right, well, you be safe and all that. But yeah, man, there's a lot of people there that go there for that, for the UFOs activity, high UFO activity in that place. So,
wow.
If anybody who's interested in looking that up, yeah, it's called the Seven Luminaries, and it's in Guanajuato, Mexico. Yeah.
And the UFO just goes down.
Yeah, it goes down in there, or they send another little, something go down in there, and I don't know what it is, man. I'm thinking energy.
There's a lot of activity along the Gulf of Mexico also. That ways on the ocean of UFO activity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's what it is. They're looking for some type of resource, energy resource or something.
Well, when you talk about UFOs, then you can talk about the duendes now, Carlito,
Yeah.
because the
The
duendes.
duendes. Yeah, we can close out with the duendes, man. The
Uh,
duendes are gnomes. If people don't know what that is, is basically the word for a gnome, right? Little guys, little bitty
The little
guys.
guys with the hats and people.
Yeah, with the hats and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
including the hats, because there's different kinds. But these guys wear the hats. You know what I mean? Like the Keebler.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever looked it up, Chris, but on YouTube there's many videos. Type in duende, but type in duende. Don't type in gnome. Type in duende, and you will see a lot of videos about these little creatures, little people, man.
They've been spotted in Mexico and in the Philippines.
Yes,
Philippines.
there's tons of videos on YouTube, man. I'll spell it for you. Duende is Duende.
What was that again?
Duende.
Okay.
Duende.
Yeah. I'm gonna look
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah, check it out. You're gonna trip out how many videos there are, man. There's kids playing, soccer in the little street, and one of those little duendes crosses with shit like and it freaks everybody out.
Yeah, they originally originate from Spain.
Is that what it is?
From the 16th century. They said that there's a law that the Spaniards said that if a house was infested with duendes, that you could leave your home behind. You don't have to stay there. So
you would have to leave. Yeah, they were so infested.
They'll infest
They'd
your
run
home.
them out. Yeah, they run
Duendes.
them out. And they're very mischievous.
They think that they're babies that died without being baptized. But they're spirits. They're mischievous. But they're called duendes.
Whoa.
A malevolent, naughty spirit. They say they hide in their homes to cause havoc.
Yeah,
but they're still being spotted everywhere.
Everywhere, and there's some included that you can see videos that a duende comes out like inside their house, dude. Like they're kids playing with the doll with the little tricycle or something, and all of a sudden you see a little duende come out of one bedroom, like towards the kitchen. It's crazy. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. You know what? I think I might have a picture of a duende, Carlito.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you do.
I think I have one. I just need to get it. They're small, man. They're mischievous.
Yeah, they're mischievous.
Sometimes they have little little spears, man. I think one of those suckers, the duende got me on my leg. That's why I got the blood clot. Hit me with a spear with poison or something. But because after that, I got the blood clot on my left leg. I was, it's when I was fighting spiritually out there in Elms Grove. I felt a stab on my leg. I'm like, man, what the hell is a stab? I got home. It looked like a little piece of metal, man, like a little spear stuck on my freaking leg. I pulled it out. Yeah, I pulled it out, and after that, I started having problems with my leg. But it got me with like a little arrow spear or something like that. I don't know where it came from, but it got me at nighttime. And the way he was dressed, I have a picture. He's got like a little freaking metal thing on his head, like a Spaniard or something, But that says that's where he originated from.
I seen one is duende in Argentina. If you guys ever want to look that up, and he comes out of it's like a little pathway, dirt, and it's like in a foresty area, or a street. I can't remember if it was a dirt or street, but he comes out of it like a little foresty area. He comes out, stands with his leg like this, with his arms out like this, like I'm the man, with his bottom legs open like this, and his arms like where are you going? Like, what are you doing? Where you want to go? Whatever. And then the guy's like, what? What is that? What is that? And then he just takes off back running towards where he came out of. Like, what the hell? Yeah. And like Joe said from Hellbent Holler, he's like, man, if that's CGI, it's really good CGI, bro.
Yeah. I've seen a movie, man. I've seen a movie of those duendes, man. They made a movie of those little things, man, like little. But I don't know. They call them something else, but they're like underground and stuff. It's weird. I seen a movie the other day about something like that.
Hey, my good buddy Al Santoriga said sounds like Oak Island story. What
Yeah,
was he referring to that, Chris? Do you remember?
I was trying to remember.
Was it
The treasure. I think he's talking about when he's
the
talking about the
treasure,
treasure. When
right?
you and Abe
Yeah,
were
yeah,
talking.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. I wasn't sure. I was like, okay, yeah. So yeah, man, there's plenty of stories, and duendes go all the way from like, man, I'm gonna even say like southwest United States, man. You know,
Everywhere.
all of that, including United States,
Yeah.
all down through Mexico, Central America, all the way down to South America, brother. Like all the way down to
Wow.
Argentina, Chile, all of that, man. So like, yeah,
Do you think that they
that's
back in the day they jumped from Spain into the boats and then made their way
yeah,
over here?
yeah. I don't see why
I
not,
mean,
because we how many how many decades or centuries have we been transporting
yeah,
either people or goods, right?
right.
And what made you think a ship came out of I don't know Argentina, Chile, right down there, and then it just hop in, you know what I mean? Where nobody could detect them or whatever, and they hopped in, and then next thing you know, they're in the Americas, you know what I mean, North America or something, and they hopped out. No, nobody
How
noticed
tall
them.
are they, Carlito? How tall are they? The duendes? Small,
No,
no?
small. Yeah, they're normally anywhere from 2 inches to like maybe
Like this small, real small.
5 inches.
Oh,
Yeah,
so they're just little. They're not very
yeah.
big.
No, they're small, dude. Like this small. Like I think the biggest is like maybe 5 inches,
But
6 inches. Yeah.
they say they
Wow.
target. I think they come after little kids, don't they? Or what do they do? They target anybody. They don't care.
Yeah, no, they target anybody, bro. They target anybody, even adults.
So
They
they're
like
just
to,
little. They like to mess with you. Is
yeah,
that
yeah,
pretty
they're
much?
tricksters. They're tricksters. They're mischievous. They like to see people, fall and break their leg or trip over something, and
Oh
like
wow.
they like that shit. Yeah, they get a kick out of that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
mean little bastards.
And I wouldn't, you know what? I wouldn't have put it past them where they're the ones responsible for things, disappearing in your house. You know
In
what
your
I mean?
house.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
You're
like the
you're
brownies and stuff over in Ireland, and stuff like the
you're
paper
you're,
brownie.
you're, your
Yeah.
silverware. Your
Your
silverware.
silverware, boom, gone, dude. Like,
Hey, this silverware, I got one then, because I swear.
yeah.
Because I guess the reason they collect the silverware because that's their you can use that against them. They're afraid of silver, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I think
Makes
Kind of
that's
sense.
what
like
it is. It has something to do with that.
kind of
Yeah,
like dealing like fairies and pixies because
yeah.
they come from that realm. So they hide all the silverware.
Hey, Chris, remind Abe to send you a picture of that ferry he has, man. He has a
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah, I have
ferry.
a
will.
picture of fairy.
I will.
I wanted to share a story since didn't tell you about the lechuza, but what happened to us or to my family? What happened to us every Saturday night for a while when we were kids. It's like my dad would go to church and we stay at the. We were so many, we're 7 of us. My mom would just didn't want to go to church, so we stay there at the house.
Yeah.
And this would happen every night, like around 10 o'clock when he was still at church. It's like my mom would be like, "You hear that? You hear that?" Because my mom was spiritually gifted, also. I
Uh-huh.
believe that's why it carried over to me.
Right,
And
exactly. It goes down the line.
I'm listening like, "No, mom, I don't hear nothing." Next thing you know, you hear like something, some talent scratching, and I
Wow.
said, "Oh, I hear that," and then you hear like somebody whispering, then the talent scratching, and then all of a sudden you hear from whispers, you hear laughing, like women laughing.
Oh.
So from that, then you hear something running on top of the roof, pounding on top of the roof, pounding back and forth on top of the roof. Then you start hearing walls getting hit, boom, 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 and everything is going simultaneously. And then our house was on pillars. You can hear it pounding underneath the house, boom, 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 boom. So my mom's praying, and we're all there in the little circle. We're trying to stay away from the windows, and you can hear the women laughing. The lechuzas, brujas.
Oh, man.
So after a while, I started getting brave. I said, I'm not afraid of the lechuzas. So I went outside and I turned on the light. I said, I see all up there, and I could literally see them on the trees. They're huge. I'll grab a caliche, which is rocks, big old rocks. And I was in Little League, and I was throwing them at them. Boom, hit them hard, direct hits. They wouldn't budge. And you could hear them laughing and stuff like that. Then my grandmother would come out of nowhere. And she said, "Well, what are you doing? You're not afraid of them?" She would tell me, "You're not afraid of them?" And I said, "No, I'm not afraid of them." And I hit them with the rocks. I said, "I'll take care of it." She'll go over there by the edge of the light, and the lechuzas on the tree. She'll say something to them. And then next thing you know, they fly away from the tree. So when we get back, I go back in the house. My grandmother's got the little smirk on her face, like I don't know, why she had a smirk on her face or what she was affiliated with or whatever. But I would go in there and I'll tell my mom that they were gone. Since they're witches, I believe my mom was being targeted by them. I remember that my mom would say there was a woman, a witch, that would appear on our hallway, and she was always seeing it. But by the time we would wake up, we couldn't see it. And I said, I'm gonna be strong enough that I'm gonna stay awake, And when I do see her coming to the house, because she was coming on the Saturdays after that would happen, the bruja, and she was in human form, would come into the house.
Whoa!
Well, there was one evening that I seen her. She was standing there. She was a blonde haired lady. She was in woman form, and she was laughing, and she was standing in the hallway. And I got up and I looked at her, and I said, "You need to leave. I'm not afraid of you. Leave now." And once I told her that, it's like I took authority over her. I sent her away. She never came back, and my mom stopped seeing her. But it's kind of like they were coming from my mother, like they had a hit out for her, a spiritual hit. But they're dangerous. They can infiltrate. They can deceive you because they can shapeshift into anything. They can mimic voices, like of children, of women. I have a scar on my face. I think I'll send you a picture of it. When I was, I believe, 5 years old, I slept on the bunk beds. And it was one evening. We had no AC. The window, we had the screen windows, and we had the lights, and you had to pull the little string just to turn on. We're poor, and I heard my grandmother calling me to the window, and she was saying my name, and I was like in Spanish, "Abaran," So then I said, "Is that your grandma?" And she said, "Sí soy yo." Yes, it's me. And so I started going towards the window. And when I get to the window, next thing you know that happens is the screen tears off, and I got hit in the face, and I fly backwards. It's like something tore the screen and hit me in the face.
Oh,
So
wow.
when my mom got up to find out what was going on, turned on the light, I was bleeding. So it scarred me. I got a scar now. I'm older now, but you can see it now. It goes all the way up to like my eye.
Wow.
But the lechuza scratched me in the face. And when I went to school, they're trying to find out what happened to me. And I had to wear a patch on my face where it cut me. And people and my mom just said, "Oh no, he fell down. He fell down." But I had the scratches on my face from the lechuza.
Damn.
They will attack, and it mimicked the voice of my grandmother. And sometimes I think, or was it my grandmother?
Right.
But lechuzas are very, how should I say, dangerous.
Yeah, it sounds that way. Damn.
They will attack, man. It happened to
it's-
me, and it has happened to many people where they've gotten scratched in the face, in the back, by the lechuzas. You hear the stories, like when I think Brother also call it a phoenix. I remember seeing something like that down that dirt road, Brother Carlito, that I told you when I was a kid that we were going to that ranch, and there was a little lagoon or a little pond or like a swamp, and it had been raining. It was raining, and the water was over the dirt road, and as it was over the dirt road, there was a fish in the middle of the dirt road. So I got off, and my dad got off to go grab the fish. And I picked up the big old fish, and I was so happy because I was thinking about a fish fry, you know.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I hear like some kind of screech, you know. And when I looked to the left, I seen like I guess some people call them humanoid, but I'll just say it like, to me, like a demonic being that was the wings were like bat-like. The body was like the same as the wings. It was real thin. It was on the stump of the lagoon, of the swamp. It was crouched down, like slouched on it, and he was screeching. He had red eyes, sharp teeth. He had talons, sharp, and he was screeching at us, and he had the red eyes. And we started running towards the station wagon. This happened like in 1975, and as we run to the station wagon, it just went straight up in the air, like they had super speed. We got in the station wagon, and we had it was a green Ford, from back then, how they looked. So we started to drive away, and he came back from the sky, and he scratched on top of the
Damn.
Hey, that must have been scary.
Driving, my mom was
reminds me of the
and then
creeper.
he came back, and they came back again, and he was hitting the side of the station wagon, trying to hit us off the fucking, trying to hit us off the road.
Yeah.
And we finally made it to the ranch. We made it to the ranch, and when we made it to the ranch, we tell his name was Chewy. We tell him what happened. He starts laughing.
Was this in Mexico or Texas?
This in Texas, right here. Well, you could say it's Mexico in the Rio Grande Valley.
Oh, okay.
In the rancho.
Yeah, Rio Grande Valley.
And he started laughing and says, "Oh, you finally met the demon that lives in that area." That's what he said. He said that a wish had conjured up a demon, and that's that pond belongs to that demon, that area, right?
Whoa.
So we didn't want to go home. And we waited till Sunday. We drove away from there when the weather had cleared up, and we were driving, and I could see it following us, because it was a certain area where there was nothing but swamp coming back home, like a lot of ponds, and I could see it flying from tree to tree. Well, that weekend that we made it back home was the weekend that I got attacked. Not just I got attacked, but other people in the town, our town got attacked by what they call the big bird, the pájaro.
Yeah.
And I believe because they followed us from that area to where we live, and that's when I got attacked on my face. There was a lot of people that got attacked. That he came out in the news. I'll show you a link about it. Where not just that they were finding dead cattle and all kinds of stuff. It was constant chaos and havoc, that the people were scared all throughout the valley. This happened in 1975. It's a true story, that it really happened. And I have a friend that's trying to make a movie of it right now. That he's working on production, making a movie about the pájaro. And there was this guy that got attacked. He tried to pick him up in the air, but it happened. It's within the what should I say, that it's events that happened. A lot of things happened to a lot of people, but yeah, it was kind of scary.
Yeah, no doubt. So you think you brought that home with you, and it attacked you after that?
It followed us. It probably was pissed off because we took its meal, the fish.
Yeah, you took that fish.
I'm thinking that he put the fish in there, and the lights might have scared it off to the side, because it's nighttime.
Yeah.
So we had the headlights on. But I guess we didn't give it the fish, and this is what happened to our friend. Like 2 weeks later, him and his son were hunting, because they live in a ranch. They were hunting for deer.
Yeah.
They ran into that humanoid, whatever it was, demonic, whatever. He ran into him. It lifted up Chewy in the air. He was scratching him and lifted him up in the air. The son grabbed the rifle and shot at it. And it dropped Chewy down. Chewy was all scratched up, and he wasn't laughing about it then.
Oh my gosh, no.
Damn.
He literally got lifted up in the air by it. He scratched his back and everything. He had scratches all over.
Oh my
But
god.
he was trying to take him.
Damn.
Whoa.
Oh, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
That is.
I know where the location is because I used to go there all the time, and maybe one day we need to make a road trip there so you can see the location what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
I don't know if the pond exists anymore there or not. But it doesn't matter if the pond's there or not. But I believe that the being is still there
Right.
because I hear stories where people in South Texas say they see the Jeepers Creepers over there, and I believe it's the same thing that I witnessed when I was.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
sounds like.
Yeah. But that's all I wanted to share with y'all guys.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you.
That
Abe. I
was
appreciate that.
awesome.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Well, I mean, I was gonna say something. Hold on. What's his name? Al was asking in the comments what a gargoyle is called in Spanish, and I told him it's called gargola. That's the way you
Gargola.
say it. Gargola. Yeah. And
Well, that's
and
what
I've heard many stories about gargoyles too. bro.
Yeah, gargoyles.
Well, they
The-
see them and then they come back and they're gone, dude. They're like, what the
I
hell?
believe that's what it was, like a gargoyle of
Mhm.
sort.
Yeah, that's what
he's.
I think that's what Al's trying to say. It's like a
That's
gargoyle.
like
One of those.
I believe that's what scratched me in the face.
Chasing
you know?
Yeah.
That's what scratched. It tried to take me out the window, man. It tried to literally take me, but I was so skinny that it hit me and I flew back. But it was trying to take me. But
Yeah.
it could mimic my grandmother's voice.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's
But I was told
amazing.
by my mom not to tell nobody nothing about it. Because
Yeah.
all the things that were happening in the town, they're probably going to try to blame us,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Oh, what I was gonna say real quick, so we can close out the show, Abe. I don't want the people to be too bored or bore the people out. I was gonna say that me and Abe are gonna have a show on my channel with one of his cousins, right? What's your cousin's name,
Yes.
bro? Jesse.
Jesse.
Yeah, we're thinking about doing one, especially on what did we say it was, the lechuza, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because his cousin had many stories on the lechuza. So does Abe. Abe has more, and and I got a couple more. So we want to do like a whole show on just the lechuzas and the and the meaning behind it, and the origins and all that. But yeah, we're gonna do that on my show. Yeah, we're gonna do that pretty soon. But yeah, well, thank you, Chris, for having us tonight, man.
Yes, Chris, brother Chris, thank you.
Thanks for being here. Anytime.
I hope you got one of those night lights on for tonight.
Yeah, man. Hey, honestly, hey, I'm not ashamed to say it. I gotta sleep with a light on, bro. Just one light, little bitty light. You know why? It's not because I'm scared, but if something comes at me, bro, I want to see what it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to sleep. I do not like to sleep in pitch ass black, bro. I know, because I can't see. I can't even see where to get up and go to the restroom, bro. Hit my fucking foot or So I gotta have a little light. It's just, I don't know. It's just a little thing, for peace for me, man.
I sleep with the TV on all the time.
Yeah. No,
Basically, if the lechuza screeches, don't whistle, please. Don't whistle.
Oh yeah, don't whistle.
It will follow you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All Mexicans know this,
Yeah.
It's like
absolutely.
if I whistle and it was a woman following me, that's no problem. But it's a lechuza slash woman. Also, they'll follow you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man. But that was
so many.
Yeah, that was just what we could cover, Chris. In about an hour and a half or so. But of course there's a lot more. But we can't make a 4 or 5 hour show. You know what I mean? So
you guys have to come back for a part two.
yeah, man, definitely we'll come back. Bro.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, it was
thank
awesome.
you.
I mean, you guys
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
there's a lot more stuff down there than what I thought.
Yeah. There's more. There's more.
Get a chance. Watch that movie, Chupa.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out, man. I'm gonna check that
it's
out.
kind of for kids, you know what I mean? But it's
Grandmother.
exactly how you explain what it looked like is what they kind of made this creature to be.
Yeah. Okay. Where can I find that movie anyway? By the way,
Where did I see it at?
Tubi, Hulu.
No. I forget where I watched it now. Maybe
Netflix.
maybe Disney or something like that. I forget. I'll have to look it up.
Okay.
I'll send you. I'll send you a link.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
might be. It might be Prime Video.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, it might be Prime. Yeah, I heard a lot of movies on Prime.
Yeah.
There's a way that the choosers can be captured, which is saying but you have to say the deliverance prayer backwards with the rosary.
Oh,
But
wow.
only people that know how to do that can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to capture.
Hey guys, just wanted to say real quick if people are interested in, I'm pretty sure they are, in your channel and all of ours. I found
Tell everybody how to get a hold of it.
yeah, I found a pretty interesting, movie series or movie, whatever you want to call it, on Tubi TV. It's called Hemlock Grove. If anybody wants to check that out, it's about werewolves. It's about teens. It's about
I think I've seen something.
Hemlock Grove. Yeah, and it's got I don't know how many seasons. Have you seen it? It's like I think it's a hand and it's a wolf that's like eating the hand like that kind of. That's what it looks like. But
I haven't seen it, but I'll check it out tonight, man.
Yeah, check it out on Tubi
I've been
TV,
watching
man.
this other show dealing with werewolves. It has the girl that played Buffy the Vampire Slayer from back in the day.
That's a good one, Abe. That's a good show. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, man. I've seen a bunch of them on Tubi TV, bro. A bunch of werewolf movies.
The werewolf really looks really good. Like it looks like the Van Helsing werewolf, doesn't it, Abe?
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, you can find me on Facebook, Messenger, Carlito Castro. Y'all can find me on my group and channel on YouTube as well. The same name, Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom with Carlito and Tom on Facebook, and Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom only, just that, on YouTube channel. You can find me there, and also you can find me on Facebook on NADP Region 4. I don't know. I think you're on there already, right, Chris? I believe so.
Yeah, I'm subscribed. Yeah.
Okay. And you can find me on Instagram, Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom, with all underscores in between each word. And if you have anything you want to write me or contact me through email, my email is Carlito Cryptid Kingdom, all together like that. Carlito Cryptid Kingdom @gmail.com. And that's where y'all can find me. What about you, Abe?
Yeah, Abe.
Me is the same name, Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. On Facebook, I've got a group there that you're more than welcome to join. I got crazy short reels, pictures that are crazy for those who want to be spiritual, or you want your spiritual senses to be enhanced in some kind of way spiritually. And I got Spiritual Encrypted Encounters on YouTube, where I share some of the videos there, plus short reels. And I'm also under Abe Sias on TikTok, where I got nothing but short reels, where you see things that are within the short reels that I capture when I do my spiritual lives. I use my spiritual senses, and I go back to the video to debunk it, and I catch what's within the short reels. It could be like a good 6 seconds, 8 seconds, but I capture something. Mm-hmm. I just haven't been out there anymore because, it was too hectic last time, so I've been taking a break. But that's where you can find me. Or you can contact me under Abe Sias on Messenger, on
Facebook. Yeah.
If y'all like.
Yep. All righty. Cool, man. Cool. Well, thank you, Chris, again, man. Thank you for having us. And
thank you for the Chris.
We're looking forward to come back whenever you need us, man.
Yeah, whenever you guys want to do it, we'll get together and
just like right now, it's raining here in Central Texas. When it rains, that's when the Llorona lights coming out. Mm-hmm. Rain, water, creeks. That's when she comes out, the Llorona. Mm-hmm. If you hear a woman crying, if you're down fishing, you hear a woman crying.
Don't come out.
Don't go outside.
Don't go outside looking for what it is.
Or no, if you're fishing and you hear a woman crying, where you're fishing, you know who it is. It's a Llorona.
Yeah. Time to bounce, man. Time to go. Yeah. Well, all right, Chris. Guys. Appreciate you, man. We'll see you next time, Chris. Thank you very much, man, for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks
all right,
a lot,
man.
guys.
All right.
Thanks everybody for watching the show. Thank Abe and Carlito for being on here. It's been an awesome show. But I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I got a Mike Bluer on. He's going to tell his Bigfoot experience. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Good night.
Yeah, good night, bud.
Good night.